want to talk a little bit about crime prevention through environmental design. This is an important concept for people that are interested in exam because it's a strategy that attempts to influence what an offender's decisions are going to be before they commit a crime. So research shows that the decision to commit a crime or to offend is more influenced by what they perceive the risk of getting caught versus the reward that they're going to get if they're not caught. It's pretty simple and straightforward. So since the certainty of being caught is a big deterrent for criminals and the severity of the punishment is a lesser deterrent, if you can raise the certainty of being captured, crime decreases, at least if you follow that logic. So you can attempt to do this through effective design and how you work with your environment to improve general quality of life, and in our case, the safety and security of the facilities that we're working with. So there are 6 main concepts to crime prevention through environmental design. Those are territoriality, surveillance, access control, image maintenance, and activity support and target hardening. So what does all that mean? I'm going to go through each one of them really briefly for you. So natural surveillance. Natural surveillance increases the threat of getting caught by increasing the perception that the offender is going to be seen. That makes sense, right? You can do this through how you put together the physical features of your environment. So if you have security guards walking the premises, then you're going to have less likelihood that there's going to be crime in those areas. So if you do it right, the offender should feel like they're being scrutinized at all time, that there's not a lot of escape routes. So you can do this by looking at how you manage entrance and egress from buildings, or how you place walkways, making it so that your windows are unobscured so that people can see out and see what other people are doing. When you do your landscaping, ensuring that you're able to look across and get an idea of what people are doing around the property area. Lighting is a really important part of this. There are blind spots and critical areas that get missed oftentimes, or a CCTV camera isn't effective because there's not enough light to be able to use it for monitoring or playback. So these are all factors that go into natural surveillance. Another thing is access control. So natural access control means clearly differentiating between what's public space and what's private space. So if you have entrances and exits that are very well defined, fencing and lighting that works together to create paths that people understand how they should flow things, then there's less gray area. So if somebody's in an area they're not supposed to be, they're clearly identified as such. And it can be a huge part of lowering the perception of vulnerability. So, clear, easily identifiable points of entry, design features that provide access to roofs or upper levels they're huge targets. So you need to be able to eliminate things that are design features that might allow people to come into a second floor window very easily, things like that. Natural territorial reinforcement. So the concept here is that this type of reinforcement promotes social control by defining spaces and improving an understanding of who owns the space. So an environmental design that clearly shows that an area is private does 2 things. It shows that the owner has a vested interest in that environment, and so they're more likely to call the cops or deal with an intruder or criminal more quickly. But it also clearly designates areas where strangers are not supposed to be, and makes it so that, again, there's less gray area and there's less opportunity for somebody to think, oh, I'll go unnoticed. Now you can enhance this with things like motion sensor lights. You cross a certain boundary, the light comes on. if you're still moving forward and you don't have a right to be in that space, you know it. So I think those make people who are supposed to be in a property feel safer, but they clearly let people that aren't supposed to be there know you're not supposed to be here. So it's a big factor. Maintenance is another area that people don't think of often, but it's important because when you maintain your facilities well, people understand that you value them. So if you have deterioration on a site, there's a perception that there's a lack of control, and there's a sense that, maybe I can get away with something here. They don't value this property as much. So maintenance is something that people don't think of often, but it's an important factor. And finally, activity support. So activity support is simply working to identify your ownership or the types of activities that are going on a specific facility. So putting signs up that let people know what an area is for, thereby clearly identifying what they should be doing versus what they shouldn't be doing in there. That type of posting is another big factor that helps people understand what they are supposed to do and what they aren't supposed to do. And that's what a lot of this is. It's about creating black and white out of gray. So, crime prevention through environmental design draws on a lot of different things to clearly draw the boundaries between what you're supposed to be doing in an area and what you're not supposed to be doing, and reinforces those activities. So I hope that helps. Please contact us at info@examforschools.com if you have questions, concerns, or would like more information.